So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream on Thursday and we're working in the neocolor tools. So I've got a bit of a mishmash of my collection and I've put them in groups of 6 so that I can put them in my little book of watercolors. And it does take a while to do. You know, you've got to be watching TV or doing something else, listen to a play or something on the radio. And I'm labelling them and making quite big squares. And the groups of 6 is so that even though I've got the plastic between, when this opens, it's giving me all my yellows, from my warmest orangey yellows to my coldest ones. And I want to do the same with the reds and the pinks. And I've done squares twice the size this time, so there's a fair amount of colour on there. One thing I am doing though is I'm reverting back to my sea white paper because the other card didn't seem to be as good. And this is the sea white of Brighton, and it says it's acid free 140 GSM and it's extra wet strength, and that's the magic word, extra strength, wet strength. That means that you can put a little bit of water on it and it's not going to do anything. But don't make it out of watercolour paper, because when you wet it, your colours will sink into your paper. And we want the colours to sit on top to be used until there's hardly anything left. So the magic words is extra wet strength on sketchbook paper. So I really would like to work out of here today, because you just touch the colour and go, but I've only got so many put in them because I was waiting for a delivery, so I have to put that to one side, and I'm going to play on this page. Excuse me. And I've chosen this because I've got my full set of Derwent art bars as well, and I'm going to buy a new Derwent art bag with extra sleeves so that I can have all my Derwent art bars, which are water soluble crayons, pastels, with my neocolor tools, because I bought them individually. I don't have a box or a tin, and also I don't use a tin. I find it difficult lifting a tin, so I'm going to put them in my Derwent art bag, and I can flip through and I can mix the colours up if I want, or I can work in them. So I thought it'd be quite good fun to do another comparison, but a different way of using them. So I'm going to be using the neocolor tools on this side, and I'm going to use the Derwent art bars on that side. They're both very well pigmented, water soluble wax crayons, crayons, but I'm not too sure about the Neos. I know they're wonderful, but I know that the Derwent art bars are for professional watercolorists, and they are light fast. I know some of these are light fast, but I don't know if they all are. But the Derwent ones are for professional watercolorists. And if you want to see how to use them properly, i.e. not in a colour book, have a look on YouTube and Google and search for Derwent art bars, and you can see how you can use them as a professional artist. Hi Kenny, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? If you've got any questions, pop them in caps, because I'm on a different laptop and things are a long way away from me. And I have to do everything by hand, so it's a bit tricky. So I'm going to zoom in and we're going to have a bit of a play. And I hope I find something we can see. Just wondering if that's in focus. Excuse me. So I'm going to pop that tin, hopefully it's clean. I'm going to put it there. So that's just going to give me enough room to manoeuvre about. Again, I'm not quite sure what colour to the horse, but because he's got kind of a sea... Let's see if I just move that slightly. He's got kind of a fishtail. I'm thinking teals and other things. And I've been scribbling on pieces of paper because I obviously don't know my colours. Until I get them in here, I won't know what they can do. And that's why I leave a gap so I can do a colour swatch. So sometimes it's a good idea to do a little bit of a... I'm going to turn the blues around because I've got some gorgeous blues and sea blues and teals. But here we've got a turquoise. Which looks quite interesting. And what's those? That's and there's a jade green as well, so that would be a good coral colour. And there's some gorgeous blues. Just have this is an old one, but it's one of my favourites. I like the older ones. Let me just have a look at this one. As you can see, you can have a look about and see what we've got. What's this one? This one is permanent blue, but somewhere there. Yeah, there's going to be almost a phthalo green. It isn't called phthalo green, that one. It's called malachite green. Which just made me think I'm just going to have a quick look in my original big box. So that one's the malachite. I thought there was a turquoisey colour. And this one is Prussian blue. Prussian blue is quite spectacular. Ooh, look at Prussian blue. That's quite nice. And there's a permanent blue, which is a paler blue. But it goes to a really nice colour. So I actually kind of like these, and they're quite big, these as well. So Prussian blue would be nice for the background. And then these two, I think I'm going to use these two, so I'm not actually going to use those. This is a really good set, this is very old, and there's 15 colours, and I keep saying this is the best set yet. If you were going to buy a set, just buy this set. It's got some pretty good colours in it. And they seem to be that little bit creamier, but they're a little bit older. And they're about as thick as your little finger, maybe bigger than your little finger. Maybe as big as your wedding ring finger. There's a lot of colour on there. Oh, is it not just me, Kenny? Kenny says we do despise tins. Well, I love tins normally, but I've just, with my hands, pick them up and I drop them. And if you drop the art bars or the crayons in one of those bags, they're not going to break. You've got more chance of saving them. So I've got some pretty nice colours here. And again, I think, and then if you look at the purples, the purple and the ultramarine bluish, you know, again, I know these colours backwards. I don't know any of the other colours, but I do know these colours backwards because I've been using them for a good 10-15 years. But I really like those colours. And he could be almost maybe a yellow ochre if I just did the fins a bright colour. But that's quite a nice sea colour, isn't it, I think. And then there's the pale greens. Maybe those do the colour. So is he going to be... Is he going to be blue with green fins, or... I don't know, I still like this particular one. But again, you've then got to decide light or dark. Are you going to mix it? Some really nice mint colours there. His body could be pale and he could have dark. He could have dark tails, and the mint and the blue. That might look quite nice. I can't find my mint now. Oh, technically it wasn't mint, it was turquoise, wasn't it? Yeah, I think turquoise, a pale body, and then some really bright kind of colours for the outside. And this is not what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to do this in my little book. That hasn't materialised yet. Oh, has it? It's about somewhere, but I don't know where I've put it. And actually I need it, so I'm going to pinch and hope that we haven't got an avalanche. So this is the book I was going to pinch the paper from, which is this layout paper. And I did actually find a cover, so I saved it so I could show everybody what it is. It's a layout paper. It's just a bit thinner than marker paper. Markers as in graphic design, marker pen. Layout paper. But layout paper is a bit thinner. And but you can get hundreds of pages and it's really thin, but it crinkles. It reminds me of that Japanese Hobonichi, and that's what I made, my fake Hobonichi. So what I need to do is just have a bit of a play here. And this is why I'm putting these crayons in a Derwent art bag, because I can take them out and I can play with them like this. And if I'm not well, I can use them with from my little book. So I'm going to have a bit of a play, and you can see where that takes these colours. Now I really should rinse the brush, but this is a play. And then if you really wanted to play, you could take these two together. And then have a real turquoisey colour. So I'm just going to make a little note to say this is my, forgive the scribble, Mythomorphia seahorse in Caran Dache. Neo 2s. And I'm going to put this in my little book, and it's going to give me an idea of what I was playing with. Oh, hi Mara, welcome to Bunny's Designs. So I really like these kind of sea colours. There's a seahorse, there's the fish, there's quite a few seahorses. So again, they can be reversed, they can be darker. I don't know whether it's going to be dark with a pale mane or a bright mane and pale colours. I do like this colour now I've made it. And that's what I meant about having the colours. I might only have 15, but you can make hundreds of different colours. What happens when we put these two together? So that's kind of like a mint and with a very pale blue. And if you like these colours, which, you know, that's a colour that doesn't exist anywhere else, when you make your colour book, you can mix the colours together on a square and you'll have that mix. I will have these mixes if I put two squares of colour together instead of a whole blank big square. So you can get some really nice effects. But what I wanted to do today, I think, because it's easy for me, my hands are really bad at the moment, I think I'm going to put a little bit of the crayon on, scratch a bit of crayon on and then move it about. I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. So let me have a think. So I think we'll have blue inside and then it'll go to green. Now that is a bit big and I don't know if I've got that one. Permanent blue. I may have bought it by mistake, but I don't think so. This is a nice blue. And if you look at that, it's almost identical. But let's see what happens when we blue it out a bit. It's not so bad. That will do. It's just a bit easier to use. Unless I have got malachite green, I don't think I have. So what I want to do is just put a little bit in there and maneuver that about a bit. And the colours are really strong, so the malachite was going on the end, wasn't it? So I am actually going to get that mix. And then it's going to go to that really pale mint colour. And these colours won't be anywhere else, you know, you won't be able to make them anywhere else. And it's all about manoeuvring this blue. And I am actually trying to keep this quite dry, but it's not really working. So I need a bit of blue at the bottom. Now, I had intended to work slightly differently, but it might be okay. And then I need the green above that. It's quite a nice chunky. And sorry, there could be a bark alert. And a knockabout alert, sorry. And this brush is so good. If you don't manipulate the brush too much, it doesn't activate the water too much. You can get some really nice effects. And again, it's a really nice, easy way to work. And apologies, I don't know why this laptop's doing that, but it's not happy, as is not Alfie, so apologies again. Alfie is sorry, I do apologise. Come here, please. Come on. What's this? Good boy. Good boy. He's just grumbling. Oh dear, he's just grumbling. The other thing I like about it is it's fairly fast. Now you've got to be a bit careful with this water brush. The trick is if you bend it, you're activating water. If you just play with the end very gently, it doesn't seem to activate too much water. Now that's dried, but it's slightly bubbled, very slightly, but I can live with that. So we've got the dark blue. Now the thought, what am I going to do with the fish? And I love the fact you can scribble and yet you can end up with something that looks like you've played with it for hours and created this really nice effect. Now I'm going to actually have to turn that around, I think. May have to turn our little seahorse around. So I want that real nice dark blue in there. And then it can turn into a teal. It might not have been the right blue. I should have maybe said with the other blue, maybe. But it's just really nice to push colour about and not have to worry about washing your brush out. You can see that's getting just that little bit too wet. Sorry, little man's going for a wander and a bark. And what everybody says about wetting the pages. And that's why I'm just doing it a little bit at a time. Has anybody got any questions? And I'm not really wasting hardly anything. I'm trying to push it about quite a bit. I've forgotten this gill under here, so I'm going to do that first. It's always easier to work with your wrist rather than away. Oopsie. So I wonder if that is such a difference in blues. I think I'm actually going to like this darker blue, this original blue, I think. And so we'll get that blue going. Shh, get that blue going. And the wonderful thing about the Caran Dache, like the art bars, is they are, because they're water soluble, they're manoeuvrable. So once you've done it, if you're not happy, you can go back in there, but you must let it dry. Otherwise your page will disintegrate. So I've got a fair amount of colour on the end of there, so I can think about doing something else. Or I think the seahorses might be the same colours, but maybe paler. So let's pick one out and see what it looks like. I kind of like that. The other thing you can do is just do this. and you can pick up colour that way. And so we need some more colour. Not sure what I'm going to do with that now. I might just have a look. I think they look quite nice together. So I did go back to the bigger ones. We've got this colour, and I have that one, and then I was going to make that one going to that one, and the blue and going to that one. So again, let's see what these do. So we go from here so technically these are going to be the colours of the horse. Oh, thank you, Cheshire Cat. Thank you. That's the colour of the horse. So we've got these two blues. I must admit, I usually faff about with a paintbrush, but this little watercolour brush is so dry. Or, I mean, it's just barely damp. You can squeeze it and get more colour out, but if you're very careful with it, you don't get very much. You've got a lot of control, and it's so easy. So I think we want the dark blue in there and the green lighter. And if you don't colour it all in, and it's wonderful because it's just crayon, but it does glide. It really does just glide off, and that's quite good if you've got poorly hands. There's no rubbing over anything. You're just gliding a bit of colour, and then the magic water brush takes over. And so you can mix these colours together to get some gorgeous, gorgeous colours. You might want to do all the blue first, because I want to keep that nice green pale on top as a highlight, because that's kind of higher up. I was thinking more like the dun coloured horse, shaded. They have a darker mane and tail. Sorry, is it the Palomino that has a lighter mane and tail? But the dun has a darker one. I quite like that. And you can mix all these colours around. Again, once you've touched it once, if you want to go over it, you need to let it dry. But I kind of like this pale colour with the minty green in it. And we have a cloud forming there, so I'm just going to miss that for a minute and see what happens. And they completely melt. They're like the art bars. There's no lines. Everything completely melts. You don't have to worry about crayon marks as soon as it's activated with a brush. it turns into a creamy watercolour that you can just move about. So again, like that, because they're very well behaved, there's no nasty surprises. I mean, you didn't have to do a blue and a mint, you can do any colours you want. Again, I've just got to be that bit careful because I've been over that bit before. And the more water you put on your colour book, the more it will buckle. Hi, Miss Q. Wow, that's fantastic. That's one thing I haven't done actually. I've forgotten about my digital, so that's something that I will be poddling back into, no doubt. I think I want that deep blue in here. It's not quite dark enough, so it's still it's dry, but I want to kind of leave it a bit longer. So I'm just going to go over there, and I did actually quite like this kind of very pale mint colour. It works quite well. I'm not really sure why my laptop is doing that, so apologies if you can hear the fan. It's just been a bad boy. But they don't need very much water to kind of behave themselves. If I needed to go into some darker colours, I could do. So I haven't decided if they're going to be white foamy things or almost clouds. Sorry, there could be a bark alert. Apologies. Apologies. Alfie's on the rampage. And I like the fact you don't waste much as well. That's quite nice. And so there's a bit of a wing there, so we need this the blue first. And there's also a bit of blue on there. And then we've got kind of that going on. You don't need very much, and if it is a small space, you just have to maneuver it with a brush. It will be fine. So I like that blue. It's a gorgeous blue, which then can turn into that green. not sure what to do with the fishes. I think I want to do the fishes something else, but I might finish the horse because it's going to be a lot of blue in there. Oh, I can do his face, so we'll come back out here and do his face, which is going to be the blue and green teal. Coffee, please. And would you put 2 brown sugar cubes in it, please? Yeah. Thank you. Big cup. Yes, that one, but needs washing out. Oh, can you take that away, Dan, because it'll break. Okay, yeah, not anymore, thank you. Right, so we get that one in there. So when hubby and I worked in the same office, he was a supervisor, but I worked in a different department, but we were in the same office. And he used to pass me several times a day and put a cup of tea next to me with half a Kit Kat. He used to buy a Kit Kat and share it and put half next to my cup of tea several times a day. Several times a day. Oh, thank you, Kenny. I'm just missing the end of chat. See if I can just jiggle it a little bit. So hopefully we're still recording. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live show with live peoples. And it's a Thursday live show. Hopefully I'm still live. Ustream's being not particularly brilliant, but bless it, it is what it is. It's free. It's wonderful. It just has odd moments. So it's a live show. People are having a natter, and I'm trying to read a bit of chat, but I do get carried away when I'm colouring in. So I'm playing with my mishmash of neocolor 2s. Some are 15, 20 years old. Some are even older. And some I bought that arrived today. So I was trying to put together almost a full set. And then I thought I was going to play. So I'm working in Mythomorphia. Just a second, sorry. So I'm working in Mythomorphia. If I can, there we go. Mythomorphia by Kerby Rosanes. And this particular page has a lion that has a tail. So he's obviously underwater because there's lots of fish. And dead opposite is a seahorse. But he's actually drawn as a horse, not a seahorse. These little seahorses here. So I thought it would be great fun to do 2 pages. One in neocolor 2s and one in Derwent art bars. And both are gorgeous watercolor crayons. The art bars are professional watercolor crayons. Thank you. Thank you. And so that's what I'm having to play with. So I've got my bit of paper, and these are my loose pieces of sheets of paper. And as you see, it shows through, but it doesn't go through. And that's a water brush. So this is layout paper, but you can use it as tracing as well. You can use it for all sorts. And I buy big sheets and make books out of it because it reminds me of that gorgeous thin Japanese paper, like a rice paper, but it's cheaper, and I make my fake Hobonichis with it. But you can have hundreds and hundreds of pages in a small amount of space because it's just so thin. But it's quite good. So what I thought I'd do is use this as my, instead of making bits of scribbly paper, which I've been doing, and then I'm forgetting about them, I'm making little notes. Because when I come to look through a colour book, I can sometimes forget what I've used. Oh, thank you, Kinko. Thank you. Uh, Oopsie. And so I'm making notes so I know that these are the colours, and then somewhere on this page I will put a number, and I use bullet journaling. So this is going into a bullet journal, so at the front there will be a page number, and it will say Mythomorphia, seahorse, Mythomorphia, seahorse, Caran Dache, neocolor 2s. And then the next page that's got the other colours on will say Mythomorphia, lion sea creature with near colour 2 with Derwent art bars, and there'll be a number. And that means that if I look here and I think, oh, I like that, what on earth is that? Is it Inktense because they're very vibrant, or is it watercolor? What is it? And I find the number, and I can go to the page, and I can find out exactly what it is, because I've found that's happened quite a lot with my colour books. I've used colours and then I've used them again, and this is with the dragon. These reds and these yellows, and the purples and the teals. I've thought I really like them, and the oranges and the reds. So, but I forget what I've done. So I need to do a page for this particular one as well. But sometimes, as I'm playing, if I'm not sure, I'll have a play, and that'll teach me what I'm doing, and then I'll remember. Because otherwise I'll come to a page and think, like this one, I haven't a clue what it is. I really do not know what it is. Have not got a clue what that is at all. It's some kind of watercolour. It's a water-based medium, but do not know what it is. Looking at that, but looking at it, it might be. It could be Inktense pencil. But again, it's guessing game. So I thought sometimes you don't want to be messing about, you want to know what you're doing. So I thought I'd have a little bit of a play, and I've also mixed the two colours together to make a third colour. And so I know what's going to happen in the middle, kind of thing. And it's really quick. It's really quick. I'm using the Derwent number 1, which is nearly worn off now, because it's the smallest and it's the driest. It's a water brush, but it's the driest water brush. It lets out the least amount of water, and you have the most control, and it's a tiny brush for small spaces. So it's perfect for the Kerby Rosanes books, and it's fairly fast. And of course, these neocolor 2s just melt on the page, so you don't have to kind of push down. You just scribble across the page. So that's quite good. And then you're just going to manipulate all that. I think I'm going to do the edges with the darker colours. So we're going to just take that colour and push it about. And you've still got quite a lot of control, even though it's a water brush. There's no kind of... You've got such control over that. You would have more if it was off a paper palette, but still I can get the effect that I want, so I'm quite happy. And you can still get highlights, and you can go back in there. If you want to go back in and put some shadows in, you need to do that the following day or when it's completely dry, because you will go through your page. It will take one quick swish with water and that's it. Unless, and it not only will buckle, it will go through your page. Now at the moment there's nothing at all. So I was having a look at the background and I was having a bit of a play. Again, I would have my crayons in my little water book, my little book of travel colours, and when I'm using the Derwent ink tens. The Derwent watercolour pencils, you know, because they're almost pure colour, what's on the end. The pastels, the Derwent pastel pencils, when I'm using them with water, I know exactly what it is because it's nearly pure pigment. The ink tens are slightly different. They look completely different to what you get. So it's a good idea to have a little colour swatch. So this is all pure colour to play with, but at the same time I have a colour swatch. So I know if I use a space I've used before, I'm going to get a pale. If I go to another area where it's pure colour, I'm going to get a dark. And I've got 10 shades in between. And that will be the same for the neocolor 2s. I've done the whites and the greys and blacks. And I've also done the yellows. So I have 6 yellows, the pale, and 6 yellows, orangey yellows. And that's all pure colour, so it's going to go a long way. So I could flick through here and then I have a quick scan when I make the colour swatch. I can think, oh well actually I want that colour. And so I know that I've got to be kind of not full strength but not weak. I need to be somewhere in the middle. That would make this job a lot easier. And once you've made a colour swatch, you have an idea of what the colours can do. So I'm going to put a little bit of this dark on the end of his hooves and so I think that was the permanent blue, wasn't it? Yeah, permanent blue. And it's not particularly easy with this big crayon. But the other way to do it is just touch the end of the crayon. And then when you go back into the blue, it magically mixes it. So I can do that blue first. And some of that dark blue might look quite nice in these really dark areas. But then I have to clean the brush because I don't want the blue, I want the malachite, the green. And so if you were doing a page in just 2 colours, you could just manipulate those. So I'm going to go down the spine, and again it's a big crayon, but you know, I'm just putting a little bit. And I actually quite like the big crayons. They're easy to use, very easy to hold as well. And you're just scratching. Just a bit of colour. And these are a little bit expensive, these neocolor 2s, but you're paying for pigment. So that's why these work so well. If you have a cheaper variety of colours, they don't work as well. They will work, but they will not melt like this. You will have a bit of a crayon mark going on. But there's no reasons why you just can't buy the smaller set and make the other colours up. So if I take this out here, it's going to be the most palest highlight, which you can't really notice now, but when I put the dark background in, that should pop out quite nicely. And it's fairly quick, which again, I like anything that's fairly easy and fairly quick. And then the rest is done with the brush. And if you just use the very, very tip of the brush, you get the least amount of water out. It's when you start moving the brush about, it thinks, oh, we want more water. So if you just activate the end, you will get the tiniest, smallest dribble of colour. But that's going to give you a really nice, natural highlight. And you can go back in if you want to, but you go in the second time when it's dried. And being water soluble, they will do that for you, but you've got to wait until it's dried, because you will wreck the paper. And it's just really, really soothing. This is what colouring should be. Just fun, easy, fun, fairly quick. I must admit this page has been the quickest. But again, it's made up. If it's made up, I can do that. I can be a bit of a colourist. But if it's not, if it's a reality photograph like Harry Potter or a picture of a robin, then I really want to do it the colours it's supposed to be, and I find it very difficult to do a purple robin or be very creative with colour. But if it's a made up thing, I'm not watching anything, I'm just going for it. So I actually have quite naturally a highlight on the tip, so I quite like that. So we'll do his tail. So we've got the blue, and the other thing, being a tight Yorkshire lass, is you're not actually using, and you're definitely not wasting anything, but you're not using a lot of colour. I just scratched a little bit of colour and you'd hardly notice that's what I've done. Sorry about the puddling around. Alfie's on the manoeuvres. And then take the brush, and now that is a little bit wet, but if I'm quick and I don't drag it across the brush too much, so I drag it across the page too much, I can get away with that. I'm going to have a really nice highlight on that. And you've got to remember not to go back no matter how much you want to. Yes and no, Kingo. Kingo says, are they the fat ones, the old ones? They're both old. The really old ones are the very, very thin ones. And they're called neo. They're neo art as well. The ones that I first bought, and then I think my husband bought me the bigger ones. So I'll go through them in a second. I'll just finish the horse and then I'll pan out and show you what we've done. So we can mix those two together to get that gorgeous teal colour. And it is always easier to go kind of with this. And I just love the fact there's no mess. I really like that. Oh, thank you, Kenny, thank you. So bear with me because we're coming up to an hour, so I'll stop recording and just show you what we've done. So that's what we've done so far, which is a fair amount actually. It's extremely quick. Now I did miss that little bit there, but you can go back in and maybe put a little bit darker if you want a bit later. Didn't really lose a lot of colour, so I've not wasted any. So it's all gone on there. So I have a bit of an eclectic mix, and it's dried. I think maybe a little bit greener. It is a little bit of a greenier colour. That it is a greenier colour, and you can't see the highlight on the end until I get the dark, and then it'll pop out. But I really like working like this, and I use a lot of dry material because it's so easy. So I use the pastels, I use pastel pencils, I use the neocolor 2s, I use the Derwent art bars, I use the Derwent watercolor pencils and the Derwent Inktense pencils, the Derwent Inktense blocks and the pastel blocks. Anything that you can mix water with, I find it's a really nice way to work, and it will always work like that, exactly the same. Scratch a bit of colour, manipulate it with a brush. The easiest way to do it, and you don't have to go back in it with anything else. It's done. You've got that lovely finish you wanted. You don't want to go over it with anything else. So I'll just move that. So this is an old set that I've had for a while, and they're called Neo Art Aquella, and you can't find them anymore. I did look, but I've had mine many years. But my original ones, which I've put into this little box here, my husband made me a coffee and I forgot about it. So I'll be in trouble. So I put these in here. This is my original set, and you can tell because it's got little holes in it. And some have broken. I think there is nearly every colour still there, just. And these are my original ones that I went round Europe with when I was pregnant with Amy. And there will be a black and a white in there, but maybe they've all gone. And the brown. So I think there's about 10 or 12 colours. I think it's a tin of 10. And these were in a little tiny tin. You can actually buy this still, these. They are actually called neocolor 2s now. So they don't look like this. This is an original which I found in a very old shop, an art shop in Ireland. And I bought it because it's exactly the same set as my original one. And I knew that that was pure colour. And they were called neocolor art, water soluble pastels. And then they looked like this, which was just a clear plastic, but they are called neocolor 2s. And then the ones I just bought, but they have the CE for children, but they were called neocolor 2s. And I think the one they have now has got the artist, the AP. Sorry, my things out of focus. The AP for the artists. And they've got the picture of the paintbrush and say water soluble. Neocolor Aquella. Oh, I don't know, maybe they aren't the newest ones. But they have got Aquella written on them, which I didn't think neocolor 2s had. Oh no, they do call neocolor 2s Aquella. So this is a combination of a couple of new purchases recently. That's my sand pink. I haven't got that one out. Salmon pink's not out. And that one isn't out either. So I'm going to have to go through these again because I must have missed some. I've missed some. So mine is a mismatch, but what I've done is I've gone through them and put them in sections of 6 so that I can put them in my colour book. Yes, I do as well. Kingo says she likes the old art stuff. I think these are fantastic. And I would say to Caran Dache, please make this set. This set I paid £15 for. I found a set online for £50. But for £50, if you look at how thick they are, you have the best colours. These are duplicates because they were in there. These are duplicate colours. This is the full set. I've got one for my daughter. And they were originally a set of 60, and I would love that. 60 colours of these is all you ever need. Absolutely fantastic. Easy to hold, easy to use. My daughter makes them into wells. So you've got its own little well, so you don't need hardly any water if you've got a water brush. And you can use them direct because you can hold them a lot better than you can hold these. You're never going to get a well. Well, I got a well in these, but it took many years. If I can find one now with a little well in it. Most of the time, it's nice to have that little well because that gives you a different watered down. Yeah, sometimes the estates, sometimes I go to estate sales and find them. Oh wow, yes, that would be wonderful. I do look on eBay, and I've been looking and I can't find one, and I'd love one for my other daughter, because this Samantha has this, and this is the one that she did the cat with. And I'm just going to try something, so I hope you don't shout at me, because we're not sure. I better do it on this side. How amazing is that? If you want a white paint, she said she thought it was this one. She couldn't remember what she was doing. She was messing about. So this is just Neocolor 2 Neo Art. Now I don't know what the white one is now with Neos, but these are fantastic. And she sat with these two, and it was an ordinary paintbrush, and she painted the cat. She didn't draw it, she just painted it as she was watching TV. And she did the same with the eye. She just sat and... Oh, hi Card Chick, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? And that's the beauty of these. You can just hold two colours and just play. And again, this is this. I think this is the Cass Art. It's a Cass Art one and the fiver, but this is a big one. And you can just use watercolour in them. Just play about with watercolour. But that's the beauty of these. And you can do them, as I say, she did it on the back as well, so that's white. That's just the white paint there. And I haven't even made a well, really. I haven't got proper white on there. It's wishy-washy. So you've got something here that you can be really creative with. And all you've got is a water brush and a stick and some sticks of colour. So I really like these. As I say, I wish they'd bring out this 50, because this set has lasted me for a long time if I wanted any of these. It's only because my hands are bad. Because these are big enough to hold. There's a cold and a warm yellow. There's a cold and a warm red. They've put a pink in there. There's yellow ochre. There's some teals, turquoisey greens. There's ultramarine. There's a cold blue. There's a green, a brown, black and a white, and there's a really dark blue as well, and a purple French ultramarine. So you've got every colour you'd want there, and they will last you forever because they are so chunky. And I love the box as well. That box, once it's shut, you put a rubber band over it, the crayons are safe, and they will never snap. These will snap. They had these in a set of 60, and I would buy the set of 60, but I saw it and it was the 30 set was 100. I've only seen a photograph of I didn't know they had it, otherwise I would have bought it. Really like these. Oh, thank you, Kenny. Yes, and she's not doing art at college either. This isn't the girl at uni. This isn't the girl at uni. This is she just does it for fun. But I taught her to draw with a biro, and I taught her to. This is done with an ink pen. But she just kind of goes for it. She just plays. My other daughter is fantastic at colouring as well. Sorry, at drawing, sorry, colouring. She's at university doing illustration and animation, and I said she's good at colouring. But she won't let me show you any of her work. And this is a really, really cheap sketchbook. I think these are about a £5, and they are huge. They are 16.5 by 11.5. And again, drawing with a biro, just scribbling with a biro. Look at those marks there. I don't think I can get that on. Drawing with a biro. And then she does something like that. Oh, she did the snail as well. And I make them use photocopy paper. Since they were kids, they just walk in the lounge, they grab a pile, they've got a biro, cheap biros, and they have a pile of photocopy paper, and they scribble away, and that's how they learnt to draw. And then she took the neocolor tools, and I thought, God, now I know that these are 30 quid, and you can't buy them anymore. I was a bit dubious about giving them, but she was so ill in hospital, and I thought, you know, I've just got to let go. I have to give her these. And she did that. She sat in front of the television and did that. And it's on really cheap paper. It's even naff sketch paper, really. So, again, I think I'm going to have to give her... And these are neocolor tools. And again, she sat with them in her hand. And then she picked I presume she picked the blue up. That's the blue. That's the turquoisey blue. There's a green in there. And she just, you see her, and I keep wondering what she's doing. And she came up with that. So, you don't need a lot of colours. It's the colours you pick. And that particular, you know, if anybody thinks I'd love neocolor tools but I can't afford them, then buy them individually and buy those 15 colours. Just buy those 15 colours. And even if they're in stick form, you can still scratch two together to make different colours. So if you put those two together, you would get a different orange. And I wanted to do this, but my hands are so bad. It's difficult even picking this up. So if you put these two together, you would get probably that yellow. Sorry, that orangey yellow. A cad yellow. That's a bit stronger than a cad. You get that. So those two colours, you would get another yellow. If you then put that yellow with that white, you would get that one. If you put more white than yellow, you'd get that one. If you put more yellow than white, you'd get that one. So you've got 3 yellows there. If you then, and I'm mixing them all up, it's taking me hours to put them right way around, but never mind. If you put that yellow with that orange, you're going to get some deeper, different shaded oranges, more like the tangerines and sand colours. If you put yellow ochre and that together, then you're going to get these pale colours, which are down here. You're going to get some very pale. Now they call them beige, but they're very pale. You get beige colours, and then you mix white, and you go to pale beige. You go to straw colour, and then you can put this yellow with this pink, and you can change your pinks to reds, because these two colours will make a cad red. Because I've done it. I've done it out of printer painter pink, which is magenta, and that's not called magenta. It's called purplish red, but I would say that's a magenta. And this is lemon yellow, which is the one that's your printer yellow. So actually that will make an orange. It should, if it's 50-50, it'll make an orange colour. But again, that's a salmon coloured. That's a salmon colour. So if you want some more red, you see that is a cad red, and mix the cad red together, and that's the orange you get, which is that one. So you can mix lots and lots and lots of colours together. So even though you've only got these 15, you've got some gorgeous colours in there. And tone wise as well. That's my bit of paper now. Tone wise, you've got lots of different ones as well. Yeah, unfortunately not. Unless you find them somewhere old and decrepit, then you might find if it's an old art shop. But I love this set. I love this set. And my daughter loves, that's all she ever plays with, is this set. And I'm going to have to give my other daughter the other set when she goes to uni, because she needs a set of watercolours, and you can't get it. This is so good because they can draw with them, and you can do anything with them. But I do love these, have to say. So that's one set that again we can no longer get unless you're very, very lucky. Oh, thank you, Mel. Thank you. And it's like the oranges, and I keep going back to this. If you want to know about colour mixing, it's a long video. So have either a good couple of cups of tea and some biscuits. But these 630 colours were made from printer inks, and this is what I intended to do. And I did actually do it with Caran Dache. They are here somewhere. That's gouache. That's Martin's Hydrus. Caran Dache neocolor tools. So I had my French ultramarine, which actually I think is that one. Oh, that's royal blue. This must be French ultramarine. Is that French ultramarine? That's ultramarine. And I had the magenta. I don't think I actually had magenta then. I bought it, but I've put it somewhere. I think that's magenta. Elysian crimson. This should be Elysian crimson. And we want a cad red. I think the cad red is the fat one. Light cad red. That's cold, you see. That's warm. That's warm. And a very cold blue would be this one. I normally have cerulean blue, but that says light. And then I've mixed all my colours up. And then the lemon yellow is that one. And it's yellow, golden cadmium yellow. It's a bit too golden for me. Whoopsie, that was a bit dirty. It's more of the orange yellow, that one. Let me have this is the golden yellow. This is golden yellow. I would think that's probably the warm yellow. So that's warm yellow, like a cad yellow. That's cadmium orange, but it's in between. And then we've got the proper orange, which is reddish orange. So that reddish orange I would put there, but they're calling it there. But I would put that there, and I would put almost this one. Is it the scarlet one? They call it fast orange, which is what I've got there. What's that one then? Yep. Then I would use that one there. Slightly orangier than that one. And that's how you go around. So again, you can do this colour wheel, and there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. There's 15 colours there. Oh, look, 15 colours. There's 15 colours. If you just bought those colours, that's all you need, really, because you can mix and match. And I've mixed all my colours up now. Never mind. I need a red purple, and so let's have a look at that. And that one is carmine, and I would say that's a red purple. And then we want a purple, which is this one. I would put that one there. You see, they call that the purple. I would put that as a blue purple, and then I would call this one purple, and they call it violet. And then French ultramarine, so greeny blue would be here somewhere. I'd have that as my blue green, and then I'd have the grass green, and then I would have a yellow green, which is in, and there is a set of 15 neocolor 2s, and that they're in there. So that's the colours that I would have. Oh, thank you, Mel. Thank you. So they're the colours, and they're almost matched, identical, and yet I've made them from two reds, 2 blues, and 2 yellows. These are all mine that I've made up with the colours. The French ultramarine, lemon yellow, cadmium orange, Elysian crimson, and cadmium red, and cerulean blue. But then what you can do, if you have these colours, you can play. So from just those colours there, 15 colours, I got 630 odd. Now they were from 3 colours originally, because when I made my first one, this is with printer inks, I had a magenta, I had a yellow, and I had a blue. That's all I had. And I'd tell this again, but it's very boring, but here we go. So you've got 3 colours. The only difficulty I had was making purple. Really struggled that. Not with the printer inks, but with the others. My purples are not the brightest. So I would always choose 6 colours, but if you only had 3, you want the pinkiest magenta. Think of printer inks. The pinkiest red. If you have a cold red, a cadmium red, you'll never get bright pinks and purples. You can't, because you've got orange in there, you've got yellow in there. So you want the pinkiest pink, you want the yellowest, coldest, brightest yellow, and you want the coldest, palest blue, cerulean blue. And so what you do is, if you want to make a French ultramarine, you want to make a warm blue. You take magenta, and you take cerulean blue, and you make a purple. You mix the purple with the blue, and you mix this blue, a warm blue. You then take the cold blue and the cold yellow, and you make a green. You then take the magenta pink and the yellow, and you make an orange. You then take a little bit of orange and put it with the pink, and you make a cadmium red. You make a cold red. And then when you mix some of these together, you get your tertiary colours in between. So that's a purple red, that's a purple blue, that's a green blue, that's a green yellow, that's a yellow orange, that's an orange red. and that's an orange yellow. And then you've got everything in between. So when I finish my colours, I will put my neocolor 2s in that colour wheel, and so you can see where everything fits. There isn't a colour you can't pick up here and put it somewhere. Cool. So the best thing to do, but you have to do it probably outside, because if you spill these you will ruin everything. But 3 printer inks I got from Wilko's for £3 something, and I've still got tons left. And I bought some pipettes for £1 from the pound shop, and I squeezed a little bit, and I used the bottom of a jam jar because it was clear and it was glass, and it was also concave or convex, I can't remember which one it is, and a little bit of, I was playing with the colours in there, so they weren't going on plastic or anything else. And I did have some photocopy paper underneath. I'm sure I made a video, but it was a very long video. And then when you get, this is the basic colour wheel. You can do anything if you have these colours. But then what you can do is you take these colours and you add the complementaries. And when you add complementary colours, you dull down and change them. But I didn't just do, I had 2 reds and 1 green. And it's come out now, I don't know where it is. I think it's still in actually. Oh, it must have dropped out. Primary reds. Then I've got primary yellows, but I've got 2 primary yellows. So I did the purple, but I did it with 2 different ones. So if you have a purple and you add it to a yellow green, you're going to get all these colours. But if you have a purple and you add it to a warm orange, you're going to get all these colours. And they're so different. If you're trying to make a brick red and you have a cad yellow and a purple, if it's a blue purple, you're going to get olives. You're never going to get a brick red. But if you have a pinky purple, you're going to get the brick reds that you want. And same with the olives. You know, you can play about with dark greens and reds and you will never get an olive because you need more orange in it. And there's a little bit of yellow here and there's no yellow here. And yellow with red makes orange. So you've only got that little bit of yellow that's in this green to mix with this. You're never going to get your orange colour. If you have yellow in that green and you've got yellow in a warm green, you're going to get an olive colour. So that's why, if I find the other one, you'll find more olive colours. Because the orange has got more in it. It's got more yellow in it, if that makes any sense. So these are secondary purples. So again, you know, the cold purple, the cold red doesn't have any yellow in it at all. It's just cold purple, cold red, and you've got your yellow. But then this purple is a purpley blue, and it's only made blue because you've put a little bit of red in it. But it's a warm red, so it's a cold red, so you've got some yellow in it, and then you've got the yellow here, and more of that makes more of an orange, makes more of an olive. So if you just brightly put orange to blue, you will get straight away, you will get your olives and your brick reds because you've got that yellow in there. And it's all to do with the ratio of yellow in your primaries and in your secondary colours. And then I just made the colour wheel with, again, just 6 colours of everything. So even though you've made a cold red, though, you won't make what's called professional cadmium red, which is a proper red. But you can make the colours if you're just playing in a colour book. I mean, I wouldn't say this is a cad red. Oh, it is. It's a cad red. It's a cad red hue light. And then there's a pink. And now, do they call that magenta? They call it a reddish purple. So I would have preferred to have an alizarin crimson, but you can see that alizarin crimson isn't far away from a pink. You could either call that alizarin crimson, but with the tiniest bit of red to tone it down, you can probably get a poppy red, alizarin crimson, and then the more red you put in there, you get redder and redder and redder until you get to your cad red. So even in between your two reds, you've still got lots and lots of colours, and that's why Caran Dache have got lots and lots of colours in between. But of course the beauty of these fat ones is they last a long time. But there's a lot of colour even just on here. The only thing is, if you're doing something with a big space, make sure you have enough colour, because the chances are you will never make it again. You should never say never, but it's rather difficult to get the exact colour. But play with printer ink and you'll be surprised at what you get. I mean, the greens, you can't get these out of a box. You know, these are just colours that you can make. All these colours, the 600 and some colours, just from 3 printer inks. But it teaches you which yellow to mix with which purple, which blue to mix with which orange to get these colours. Because it's sometimes a bit when you're trying to get brown and you end up with purple and you think, well, why? How's that happened? Or you're trying to make purple and you end up brown, and it's to do with the fact that you've got the wrong red and the wrong blue. That's all it is. You've got more pinky magenta in it, so it's going to go purple than you have the other way. It's like here, you see, this is a cad yellow, but I can add it and get some nice dark purples. But if I add it to a pinky one, it goes red, it does not go purple. So if you want some nice shades, you need to add a cadmium yellow to a blue purple rather than to a pinky purple, because your pinky purples are going to turn red because you've got red in your cad red. Sorry, you've got red in your cad yellow. That's what's made it warm. If you look at the same one, and I found it. If you look at the same one, the colours are completely different. This one is exactly the same. We've got yellow and we've got the exact same 2 purples. But look at the colour difference. And all the difference is the yellow. This one is a cold yellow. So a cold yellow on a purple blue will give you some nice dulls. But a warm one, because it's got red in it, will give you, you're doubling your red. You've got red in your purple and you've got red in your yellow. Here you've only got red in your purple. But put it at the other side and it turns those into really dull purples, reddy purples. And on the other side here they're more orangey because you've got red in your cad yellow. So, and again here you've got these really nice, gorgeous teal, olive colours, because there's more orange. Because you've got you've got yellow in here, so you've got more orange. So if you took the yellow out of there and the red, you would get your orange, and then you mix it with the blue. So if you mix orange and blues, you get olive colours. But because these reds are hidden, you get different colours. Does that make sense? Or was that a bit double Dutch? Same with the blue one. Exactly the same. Mixed exactly the same. But not so bad here, but when you get round here, these are almost teals going into mints. But these will never be mints and teals because they've got red in them. Or they've got a touch of red because the ultramarine is a purpley blue. This is a cold blue. The only red that's coming in here is coming out of that orange. So you could mix an orange with a cold blue and get mint colours. You could mix orange with a warm French ultramarine and you'll get kind of darker colours. The same on the other side. On the other side, if you look here, these are brown, but these are not brown, these are green. And that's because there's yellow and red over here, but there's no yellow and red here, it's just pure blue. But in that orangey red, we've got red and orange. Sorry, we've got red and yellow. In this one, we've got red and orange over there, but we've also got red here. We've got red in our French ultramarine because it's made it warm. So we've got red here and we've got red here, so we've got browny colours. So again, if you mix a reddy orange with a purple, you're never going to get a green, you're never going to get the colour you want. If you mix a cold blue, you won't get a brown. And you'll be mixing blue and red and orange together until they come blue in the face and you'll just get greens because that's cold and that's not got enough red in it to make it a brown. Does that make sense? This paper here is a very cheap, and it was reduced because I'm a tight Yorkshire lass. I think it was £2.50. It's a W.H. Smith sketching paper, acid free 135. But I'm using them fairly dry. You know, they weren't slapped on there. They were used fairly dry. And the same with the pinks, with the reds and the greens. You know, opposite colours again, complementary colours for shades, for tones that are darker. So again, we've got the same greens, exactly the same greens, but we've got a different red. We've got a cad red and we've got an Elysian crimson. So again, if you have a cadmium red and a cold blue, a greeny blue, you're never going to get a brown. It's always going to be a red brick colour. It's going to be a reddy brown, but you're never going to get a cold, cool brown. Because the colours of this one's got yellow in it. This doesn't have any yellow in it. The only yellow coming from here is from the green. Here we've got yellow in the green blue and we've got yellow in the cad red. Because it's a cold. We've colded it down. It's on the cold side. So somewhere in there it's got a yellow. Does that make sense? Oh, hi Suzanne, are you looking after your little man? Actually, he's not here. I don't know where he is. Oh, he is. Tell a lie. He's right under the he's right under the chair. So if I move the chair, I'm going to run over him. So that's it's a good. You know, I only meant to go here, but then I get carried away. And if there's colour here, I just kind of keep going and going and going. And the best thing to do is to keep going until you actually get to there. So you're taking that colour to that colour there. So you will have everything in between. It's just I was doing it to try and be neat and tidy, but I'm not neat and tidy. And I did the same. I took it further with the purples. So no, I did the primaries. These are secondary colour orange, secondary colour orange. There's 45 colours there. There's 29 colours there. There's 46 colours there. There's 26 colours there, because that's when I started and I got carried away. There's 40 colours there. Again, you know, you can take it back up to itself. You can keep going until you get to that. You can keep going until you get back to that. Colour is fascinating. It's fascinating. You can do these kind of grids where you add the colour and you add the opposite colour, and in the middle all the way down you'll have the exact opposite. So there's lots of different ways. See, there's red, oranges, yellows, purples, blues and greens. I didn't have a big enough, I just didn't have a big enough piece of paper because I was messing about. But there's thousands and thousands of tones and shades. And there's all those in between that you make up as well. Oh, well done, Jane. I'm going to have a mouthful of cold coffee. Jane says she loves it when I talk colours. The problem with me is my mouth works faster than the brain, and that's not normally good. And again, you know, I'm not a precious girl. I can't use my precious things. I'm terrible. So use printer inks and have a play. Go sit in the garden, have a play, and if you spill, you're going to have some brightly coloured grass. But have a play, and there's nothing better than having a good play outside with colour. Whereas if you spilt your favourite expensive paper, you might be a bit upset about that. So, yeah, we always end up with colour, but of course with neos, you can't really do anything else but with colour, can you? And I spent ages sorting out my colours and they're all mixed up. But never mind. So neocolor 2s have done it all for you. I might actually make a colour wheel. I could make a colour wheel. And then you can see where they all fit. And it's all to do with what bit of orange and yellow they are. So some will be in between. You'll have like a stage of colours. Like the colour wheel, which I wanted to put my hand on and I can't now. So the colour wheel has its colours on the outside, but then on the inside it has other colours because they've added white to or some others. But of course it's good fun. Is that my seahorse? No. I don't know where my seahorse is. Oh, there he is, look. So we got quite a lot done. And that's just with 4 colours, but there's definitely more than 4 colours mixed in there. And that's, again, what I like about it, you know. Is that too much blue or exactly blue and green, or is there more green than blue? So that even if you've only got 2 colours, you can make 20 colours out of it by the amount you vary of each one. It's like chemistry. You know, if you have half and half, you get a dead match, a mix. If you mix a little bit more of one than the other, it's going to be a slightly bluer colour. If you're going to put slightly more green in it, it's going to be slightly greener. And that's all neocolor 2s are. They're just variations of pigments. There is a chemistry on actually mixing colours, like, you know, to get an olive colour, you do need that orange in there, you need that red and that yellow, but it doesn't matter what it comes from. And different Victorians mix their colours completely different as well. They mixed different colours, and in the back there is a colour wheel that they did, which is completely alien, and they say it's called truth. So they do it completely different. They have the red and the yellow to make an orange. This is their colours. the red and the green to make blue and yellow to make green, and then they have a blue and a red to make a purple, and then they have an orange and a green, two secondaries, to make olive, orange and purple to make brown, and green and purple to make slate. So again, you know, you look at those colours and you go, oh wow, that's why some of the colours that you see in Victorians are gorgeous. Yes, Suzanne is behaving. Suzanne says, are you behaving, Alfie? Alistair, Alfie? Alfie? You behaving? I don't know where his head is and his bottom is, but anyway, never mind. He's pulled the blanket from me. He's on the blanket because I can't move it. So he's just lifted his head up. He says, yes, he is, thank you. So again, you know, that's fantastic. And that's the quickest way to get the olive, is a bright green and a bright orange. And how many times have we thought about that? It's like the brown. Well, I used to always make my browns with red. But again, it depends on what brown you want. You see? But it depends on which purple. So I might play with that actually, because that's really good. Shall I do that with the neocolor 2s? We could do that with neocolor 2s. I'm going to stop this video because I don't know how long we've gone on. Oh, we've gone on a bit too long. So in part 2, I'm going to do the colours. I'll play with the colours with the neos. So that's Mythomorphia with my gorgeous set of neocolours. So thanks for watching.